Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. It's the Timey Wimey boys.
Woo!
I'm Timey.
And I'm Wimey.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I don't want to, because that will stick.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And I don't want to be Wimey.
What you? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because
For anybody's Wimey.
I think there's certain maybe members of our family or friends of friends that listen to this and aren't completely sure why this is called Timey Wimey. So if we say now that it's because I'm Timey and you're Wimey, that's just going to stick.
It's going to be there forever.
Ignore that. Our names aren't Timey and Wimey, alright?
But we are the Timey Wimey boys.
We are the Timey Wimey boys, and today we're going to be talking about
the Unquiet Dead.
Shush!
Be quiet.
Shush! Dead is supposed to be quiet.
God, it's so unquiet in here.
Oh, these dead are so loud.
I can hardly hear myself think.
It's time to talk about episode 3 of Doctor Who, The Unquiet Dead.
Yeah.
But before that, I just, off the top this week, I wanted to bring up that last week we spoke about the character Cassandra, and us idiots stupidly didn't bring up Cam's mum's incredible Cassandra lasagna that she made for us a few months ago.
We talked about Cassandra bacon, talked about eating Cassandra, didn't bring up that we actually have partaken in consuming her before.
I can imagine if she was having a glass of wine at the time, she threw it across the room.
Yeah.
When we talked about Cassandra bacon and we didn't bring up her Cassandra.
She was there waiting.
It was a beautiful lasagna.
Oh,
Lasagna. Sorry, it was a beautiful
lasagna.
Wait, you know what? How are you, Cam?
I'm pretty good. I'm a little under the weather this week. Not on top form like I was last week.
Not when you were on your peds.
No. After fresh off my massage, I've now flipped the script, and one of the sweet little angels that I work with has given me a cold. So I apologise if I sound a little congested.
By sweet little angels, you mean one of the kids, right? Not like you're not referring to another member of staff.
No, yeah. One of my sweet little angels that I work with.
Is that what you call the other assistant teachers?
Yeah.
Sweet little angels.
My sweet little angels. They're my angels.
Oh, you know what? When you started working at a school, I remember thinking, we've got now a direct line to all new diseases.
Yeah, straight to your door.
Maybe we have an early immunity to disease these days, though, because the kids are just giving them to us every other week.
It's like a fresh vaccine each week.
It's like a gift from them to us.
Yeah.
What else have you been up to?
I've been to the Christmas markets this week.
I didn't know you had money like that. I didn't know you had bread like that.
Yeah, didn't buy anything.
Oh.
But I thought that's pretty on theme with this week's episode, which is good.
Christmas. Or just snow, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh wait, does it take place? It does take place.
Yeah, it takes place at Christmas.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Of course.
That's a good sign.
I worry have you forgotten part of the episode?
You know what? It's funny you say that because recently I went to watch Keith and Orville at the theatre.
Keith and Orville?
It was hilarious, especially the bit where Orville talks about peeing off the top diving board. I was in stitches. It's amazing. That little green duck just never runs out of funny things to say.
Just full of jokes.
The show finished. I was still in stitches. I walked up to get out of the theatre, and I got to about row Y.
Row Y. Wow,
so
a long
right
way
towards
along.
the exit.
So close.
I slipped and I fell
all
the way down. And I forgot everything that happened in the Doctor Who episode I watched.
Again.
It happens. Something like this happens every single week.
Well, accidents happen. Just because the penny flipped on heads once doesn't mean it's not going to flip on heads again.
I know this is crazy to ask for a third week running, but you don't happen to have a little sort of summary of the episode, do you?
Do you know what? I could definitely fill you back up.
Oh, thank you so much.
You just forever eternal.
Oh, thank you.
So, Kez, in this episode, the Doctor wants to showcase the TARDIS's ability to go back in time. We went forwards in time last week, going back in time this week.
It can do both.
It can do both. It's not a one-trick pony.
Wow.
Yeah,
This guy's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
Just he's got some long sleeves.
I'm glad you said sleeves.
Bigger on the inside, you might say.
He's got some long sleeves.
Some long sleeves. Don't get your hopes up, listeners. It's not that kind of podcast. So of course he travels back to. Can you remember?
Christmas.
The very first Christmas. Which happened in Victorian era Cardiff. Yeah. Of course, and where he and Rose just so happened to bump into the Charles Dickens, of course.
He's the guy that wrote Cat in the Hat, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Charles Dickens?
Charles Dickens, Cat in the Hat. No.
Who wrote... Okay, who's Charles Dickens?
Charles Dickens, you
listeners,
really
in case you don't know who Charles Dickens is, he wrote such books as Mr. Happy, Mr. Tickle,
yep,
Mr. Sad,
Mr. Questioning his
sexuality, Mr. Murderer,
that was my favourite.
No,
as a
wait,
child.
sorry, that was Roger. Okay, what did Charles Dickens write?
So he wrote a load of stuff like Oliver. Or I think it was Oliver Twist was the book.
Did he write Oliver Twist?
Yeah, he wrote Oliver Twist. Do you not know who Charles Dickens is?
I didn't know he wrote...
Do you genuinely not know this about Charles Dickens? He wrote Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, Christmas Carol. Why are you Googling it like I'm lying to you? Of course he wrote Oliver. It's one of his most famous works.
Alright, I thought he just wrote A Christmas Carol.
You thought that was the only book he wrote. He went down in history for that one book.
Well, it's a pretty good one.
It is pretty good, to be fair.
I thought he just came up with Scrooge McDuck and that was it. Sorry, I hate to interrupt your recap.
No, it's alright. Clearly more has fallen out of your brain than I could have ever feared. But alas, as always, trouble is also around the corner. The Doctor discovers that the dead are walking once again. I know, terrifying. They're not just walking again, they're killing people, screaming directly into the camera, visiting local theatre performances. I know. This is the horror episode of the series.
Sorry, guys. I know I'm screaming a lot, but this is because it's a very spooky episode.
Very spooky.
And the more I remember, the more scared I'm getting. I'm quivering in my little socks.
After some investigating, they learn that gaseous aliens are possessing the recently deceased. Why are they doing this? Are their intentions pure? No, of course not. But will the Doctor be able to uncover this before it's too late?
No.
Of course not. But don't worry, there's a big explosion that fixes everything, and we don't lose any inexpendable characters.
Charles Dickens blows up the building.
Yeah.
This sounds like such an incredible episode with so many things that happen in it. I'm so glad you reminded me of it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was a fantastic recap, Cam. Thank you so much. I remember everything. It's all come back to me.
Oh, I can see it. I can see those cogs whirring and whirring.
So the first undead woman we see busts out of the morgue. She strangles a dude. I think does she throw him across a room?
Yeah.
And she busts out of her coffin and escapes out into the streets. And Mr. Sneed, the man who owns the morgue, says, "She's 86, she can't have gotten far." She just choked a man with her bare hands and busted out of a wooden coffin.
We're not playing by the same rules as most elderly people here.
This is not just some 86-year-old woman, alright?
She just knocked you out. You cannot say she can't have gone far.
And she heads straight to the theatre. Some kind of maybe old woman instinct. And my first question was going to be, if your grandmother came back from the dead, where's the first place she would go?
Oh, so I think... Well, my grandmother's still alive, but I do know that she's...
Disqualified. No, go on.
That she's a very big fan of horse riding.
Oh, okay.
So maybe she'd go down to the local stables, saddle up, be trotting around, trot towards camera,
On a ghost
screaming.
horse?
Yeah, maybe it's a recently departed horse as well. Yeah.
Okay, well that's nice.
What about you?
I think if my grandma came back as a ghost, she would just start gardening. It'd be a really spooky garden, but it would look beautiful. At all so it'd be nicely trimmed.
Yeah, that's not
She's
usually...
quite nice. I don't think she'd be like a poltergeist.
No, yeah, it's not usually you walk past a haunted house. It's usually like overgrown. You don't usually get like a luscious garden.
Yes, she'd be the first haunted house ghost that just had a beautiful.
It was really
trimmed
inviting,
garden.
actually.
Yeah, a really inviting haunted house, which would be way more effective.
Yeah.
They've just landed in the 1800s, and before they leave the TARDIS, the Doctor tells Rose, "You can't go out like that. You'll look like an idiot." Or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, you should have painted her blue the last time.
Yeah. How's she gonna fit in amongst all these lot?
She stood out quite a lot next to what's meant to be the last human of all time, I think.
Yeah. You
Might
can't
have raised a few eyebrows.
can't exactly pass her off as just she's just a human. She just looks like that all the time.
And it's fine, Doctor. You keep your regular V-neck and leather jacket on. That looks completely of the era.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he doesn't change his outfit. Did he just want to see Rose dress up?
He just played dress up.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
You need to change what you're wearing.
I don't like that. You'll put the dress on or you'll get the holes again.
But the Doctor and Rose aren't our only characters in this episode. We also... So this episode takes place in Cardiff, which is where I'm from. So all slander that I am about to say in the next 30 minutes is totally acceptable. You are off limits. But I will say, these are the most Welsh people I've ever seen.
Am I really off limits? Because it's a long time before there's an India set Doctor Who episode.
I'll give you a pass. You can be a brother for this one. But yeah, these people are incredibly Welsh. I think they found the most Welsh sounding people that they could for this episode.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, in honour of that, I would introduce you to some of my favourite Welsh words.
Okay.
So we've got some Welsh words and some Welsh slang here.
Oh, great.
So
I love I take every opportunity I can to learn more about the Welsh culture.
Yeah, I've noticed that about you. So let's see how many of these you can get. You've got achida. Do you have any idea what that is?
Say it again.
Achida.
So a lot of the time Welsh words sound like what they are.
This one doesn't.
Oh.
But I can say that you would likely hear this in a pub.
Does it mean a pint?
Doesn't mean a pint.
A toilet?
No, not a toilet.
A cheers?
Yeah, so that's how the Welsh say cheers.
I hear toilets a lot, but I also hear a lot of cheers.
Yeah. You've also... Another fun one that I like is a dut.
A dut?
You might call me a dut.
Oh, you mean a complete piece
Yeah, no, not quite. No, but a dut is... This one's quite nice. It's for somebody who's cute and little and dinky. A little dut.
Oh, yeah, you are a dut.
Little dut.
Yeah.
Achevi.
Oh, no.
Kind of. It's yuck.
Yuck.
Achevi. I think you'll like this one. Spunkin. Spunkin.
Thank you.
No, it's the game of squash, but I just thought spunkin was quite a funny word.
Yeah, that was going to be my second guess, actually.
So yeah, those were some Welsh words for you. Just to
I'm
broaden
feeling more
your...
Welsh by the second. They all track the old undead lady to the theatre. And she opens her mouth and screams, and a ghost comes out of her, flies around the room, dashes into a lamp. The Doctor sees this and goes, "It's made of gas." Now look, ghosts fly into and through a lot of things. If the ghost just happened to have flown through the wall, would he have said, "It's made of cement"? If the ghost had just flown into like someone's backside, would he have gone, "It's made of farts"?
That's
But
so
fair
true.
enough. Makes the assumption very quickly.
Why is he just jump? He's very. I'm the cleverest man in the room. I'd never question my own judgment. It's made of gas. It must be.
You're actually lucky it didn't go outside if it flew into a cow. It's made of beef. It's a wild
There's
beef
a horse
chase.
and carriage going past here. It's made of horse.
It's made of carriage. But fair enough. He was bang on the money.
Yeah. Does somebody want to check on Mr. Sneed? Because, my God, he is acting insane this episode. I know he's going through a lot.
Mr. Sneed's acting insane this episode.
Yeah, I mean,
In the rest of the series, he's fine.
But his reaction to the dead woman coming back was like, oh no, not again. He's got a let's do it later sort of attitude about the whole thing. He's started carrying around chloroform. As soon as Rose just comes over and asks a couple of questions about what's going on, immediately knocks her out with a rag on her mouth and kidnaps her.
Oh, Mr. Sneed's a bit of a creep. As we find out later, he was very quick. He was almost too quick to kidnap Rose here.
Yeah, he was like, I think she's seen too much. I think she's got to come home with us. I think she needs to come back to my house.
He takes her back to his house. He puts her in the morgue, where the undead wake up again.
Yeah.
They're about to attack Rose, and she goes, "You're kidding me!" I was half expecting her to shout Derek again.
Yeah, another prank by our infamous prankster.
Chasing her across time with his pranks.
Not again, Derek.
It's Barney from Prank Patrol, chasing Rose across time and space.
Meanwhile, while all of this has been happening, making a new friend with our old boy Charles Dickens.
Yeah.
I've got to say, this, listeners, is my weekly gush. You're
I didn't think it was coming
always
this early.
excited.
I wasn't ready for it. I didn't think you'd be coming this
Didn't
early.
want to make you wait for it this week. I wanted to gush early for you because I know how much you love it.
Oh, okay.
This conversation in the carriage is... I love it. It's funny. It's got its own sort of story arc where they start off not liking each other, the Doctor and Charles Dickens, and then there's this fun little exchange of compliments. There's a bit of humour around the time difference in the language they're using. Then the Doctor starts criticising him, and you see Charlie get a little bit touchy. And then it all culminates in Charles Dickens becoming essentially the muscle for the Doctor later in this episode.
The Doctor also tells Charles Dickens to shut up at one point, which I loved.
Yeah, really.
I was like, I want you to tell everyone to shut up. I want you to tell me to shut up.
Oh, yeah. It's very powerful, isn't it?
Just hearing Christopher Eccleston say, "Shut up."
Shut up.
Good. I'm like, this is just not what people know the Doctor to be these days. It's not a northern guy going, "Shut up."
Yeah, we need
It's a young man going,
more of that.
"Hey!"
He's like, talk all you want.
Yeah. But the old Doctor was like, "Shut your fucking..."
I felt a little bit sorry for our Charles Dickens, though. Yeah, I've got to say, I'm a little biased. Don't know if you know this about me. I loved A Christmas Carol growing up.
What, the normal one or the Muppets one?
All of them.
I was specifically the Muppets one.
See, the Muppets one was good. Like
Good?
Well, this is the thing.
The Muppets one was great.
It was incredible.
Thank you.
It's I don't know why I'm acting like it's not. It's a fantastic film.
Better than the original.
Probably, better than the original.
Much
say,
better than the original.
I will admit it is much better than the original.
Much better than the original.
In fact, I mean, I can't even say how good the original is. I've never read the book. I used to watch every Christmas for a good few years. I would watch as many different versions of the Christmas Carol film as I could find. All the terrible straight-to-TV movie ones.
Imagine meeting Charles Dickens if you only watched the Muppets one. He's like, "But have you read my books?" You're like, I don't know how to explain this to you. I've seen your books represented by a puppet frog. What?
Yeah, my favourite character in your story was Fozzie Bear. Yeah. I loved him. Fozzie Bear? Who's Fozzie Bear?
Why did you make Tiny Tim a little frog? What? I didn't make him a frog!
Poppycock!
Poppycock!
But yeah, I just loved it. I watched so many of them.
Rose, just like she did in the last episode, and I feel like she's going to do this a lot more, immediately starts a workers' union the second she touches down in Cardiff.
Yep.
She meets the first working class person she can see.
Yeah.
And starts telling them they're underpaid.
Mm.
And starts asking about boys. Tell me about boys.
Let's talk about boys. Come on, let's talk
She's
about
like, I
boys.
shan't talk about boys.
Oh,
She's like,
God.
talk about boys.
Talk about boys. Come on, you could talk
Boys
about
or chips?
Boys and chips. That's the only
Talk
thing I
about
want to talk about.
one or the other.
No, I can't. I can't.
Smother them both in vinegar and salt.
I don't. No, you're a wild thing.
Tell me about your chips. Sorry.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. I do like that she always talks to the sort of working people of each story.
The working class girl is called Gwyneth, and she has the sight, and she can basically talk to the ghosts, and they meet the Gelth,
Yes.
which are the ghosts, and it's kind of like an NPC interaction in a video game. It's kind of like a CG ghost, kind of floating around, and kind of stays in one place and says a few voice lines and then disappears. I did feel like I was playing Skyrim or something.
Yeah, right. They just want to sort of get across the information of what's going on, and then allow the
And
characters.
And then bounce.
Yeah. Like, okay, so this is the story. We're gonna leave now. Let the characters do their thing.
There's just a few of us, and they want to use the dead body. How do you feel about this? If an alien race came to this planet and were like, we're gonna die, there's not many of us left, can we just take like a few hundred of your dead bodies and use them as like bodies? Would you be like, yeah, sure? Or would you be like, respect the dead?
I think if we're not using them, then what harm's it gonna do? What's
Right, you're gonna let them, right?
yeah? What's the problem?
And it's fair, and they pretty much agree to do it. They do agree to do it.
Yeah.
And then all these ghosts start pouring in, and they go, I thought there was just a few of you. And the girl says, yes, a few billion.
Yeah, I didn't technically lie.
I said a few. It's your fault that you thought that meant 10
You
or
should
20.
have asked more questions.
A few billion ghosts start coming through.
This is only a small room. I don't know how they're all fitting in here.
They start inhabiting everyone in the morgue. They all start chasing after the Doctor and the Rose, who are trapped. Charles Dickens bails. It's
Immediately.
too much for him.
It's like,
I'm
can't
out
do
of
this.
here. I'm out.
Not for me, thank you.
I've seen enough.
What do you think
Peace.
What?
Peace out, homies. See you on the flip-flop.
Catch you later.
Got to bounce.
Smell you later, folks.
Gotta run. Okay. Yeah.
As he leaves, it's just like... He doesn't jump out the door.
All right. Anyway.
Let's imagine that the Gelf's plan is genuine.
Yeah.
You meet one of these recycled corpses that has now got Gelf living inside it, integrated member of society, living in this corpse.
Yeah.
You maybe you work with them. You maybe hang out a bit. Maybe go on a few dates. Things start getting a little bit more...
With a festering...
Things might get a little bit more serious. You hit it off.
Oh, no. Whoa.
How long before you bonk it?
How many pints?
How many pints? But because of course there's a time limit if this is a decomposing body.
I mean, I don't think there's any circumstance like because you might as well be like Weekend at Bernieing me. Like, you might as well just be animating a corpse. I don't think I would go on the date.
You're breaking this poor Gelf's heart. All she's wanted is to spend one night of passion with you for all these months.
If you needed to be in something gaseous, I genuinely would have rather gone on a date with a balloon than a dead body. And probably would have had more chance of bonking.
That's a good point. They're made of gas.
Yeah.
What do you think the Gelf smell like?
Right, I've been trying to avoid this episode, just like making jokes about them just being farts. But when you ask me a question like that, my brain just what do they smell like?
I'm like the devil on your shoulder, just go, talk about farts.
Talk about farts.
It'll be funny.
It'll be fun. No, I think you know what? I think they smell like Paco Rabanne.
Paco Rabanne.
Is Paco Rabanne a fragrance?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
It's either a fragrance or cloves.
I think they smell like Jeremy Fragrance.
That's very kind. I was thinking more like, you know when you've got a flask you haven't used in a while, it's got that stale air inside, you like open it up, you give it a whiff.
Like 7-month-old cup of soup.
Yeah. I think bit metallic. Yeah. In fact, do you know what? I think the Gelth smell like the Mox of Balhoun's spit tastes.
Which you said you would definitely eat. So
I would. So I would definitely be huffing these
You'd
Gelth
be huffing
goats.
them. Is that how you bonk a Gelth? You just put them
Yeah,
in a
you just
Lucasade bottle and go... The Doctor is very upset that he's about to die in Cardiff of all places, and honestly,
Feel for the guy.
I almost died in Jolly Bees in Cardiff, and I felt the same.
God, Jolly Bees in Cardiff. I've been there once. It was an interesting experience in there, wasn't it?
I felt like when you go into the Jolly Bees in Cardiff, it feels like the only people in there are people who just want to experience Jolly Bees for the first time, or people who eat Jolly Bees every single day.
You can tell who the regulars and who are the, because the newbies, they've got this worried look in their eyes. The newbies,
the Jolly Bees are the newbies.
Yeah, the newbies, they're looking around dazed and confused at the menu. They're like, how can you serve spaghetti and a quesadilla in the same place?
When you get to the counter, they say, welcome to Jolly Bees. Are you a new bee or an old bee? Old bee, please. They go, here's your complimentary spaghetti.
Here's your complimentary spaghetti. Here's your quesadilla.
Here's your chicken wing. Here's your burger. Here's your
member's bib. Luckily, though, the day is saved in a way which would, of course, make the Doctor proud. Blowing up a young woman's place of business. He loves to see it. Loves to see it.
And unfortunately, Gwyneth bites it.
She does. She's gone. And the Doctor couldn't have done anything.
But Mr. Sneed bites it as well, so
there we are.
I was so happy when Mr. Sneed died.
Yeah.
He at one point he'd inappropriately placed his hands on our darling Rose.
Oh, Jackie wouldn't have liked that.
Oh,
if he's lucky Jackie wasn't there to see that.
I feel like I proxied Jackie's pain there.
Yeah.
They talk. They after the building blows up, they stand outside it and they go, "She saved the world. Just a servant girl.
Yeah.
No one will know." Anyway, let's get out of
it. Yeah. It's just let's give her maybe 2 seconds of the notice, and then let's go off. Let's not put any work into spreading the message about how she helps people. Or
it's bounce, man.
Yeah, let's go. We
boring.
Got places to be.
I don't think it's going to get better than that explosion, Rose. I'm not going to lie.
No, this is definitely the end of the episode, guys. Let's go.
They leave Charles very elated. He's like, all these new things I never knew about before. It's amazing. I'm like, you're gonna get sectioned, mate. Calm down.
He's a
keep it on the DL.
He's a bit of a strange old man in this, isn't he? Like there was one moment where he's talking about all of these new things that are in his life, and he's like spectres and jack-o'-lanterns. Is somebody gonna tell him jack-o'-lanterns are already real, mate? They're not a mythical creature that's
just a thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just a pumpkin.
It's just a pumpkin with a flame in it. It's like I can't believe that how is this happening?
When Mr. Pumpkin talks to me now.
So but now he's got all this brand new knowledge, and he goes skipping off into the snow.
I'm like, Charles.
And the Doctor's like, yeah, he's very happy, isn't he, Rose? He's gonna die in a few months.
He dies 1 year later. It's his time.
It's his time, Rose.
It'll be your time soon.
One day, Rose. Everybody's got to go sometime.
What a poetic episode.
What a poetic episode.
This was definitely an episode of Doctor Who.
That was an episode of Doctor Who.
It's time to get steamy.
Ooh.
It's time for... Was that too much?
No, I loved it.
It's time for Snog, Marry, Exterminate!
Snog, marry, exterminate.
Woo! This week, your bachelors will be Charles Dickens,
Yeah.
big CD player, the Doctor again. You get another opportunity
Wow.
to Snog, Marry, or Exterminate the Doctor.
God, he's eager, isn't he?
And Orville.
Orville.
Orville the Duck, which means I have to keep that stupid bit about Keith and Orville in at the beginning.
No, yeah, okay, so that's definitely staying there.
Although Orville's in a nappy, he may be in his like 50s, 60s.
Yeah, he's got
may have a
he's just
problem.
got bowel problems. So I think, oh god, we know Mr. Dickens isn't an honourable man. He sleeps around, but because
What's wrong with that?
well, I nothing inherently wrong with it, but for a married man, it might be deemed a little bit questionable.
I'll give it to you.
But that does mean that he's got experience. He's
I'm taking it away from you.
Then you've got the Doctor.
Yeah.
Talked about him before. He's got lots of benefits. I'd like to see some of those benefits, as always. And of course, our green nappy-wearing friend
Goblin.
over here kind of looks like the Mox of Balhoun. I've never really noticed.
You think it's Orville from Keith and Orville is related to the box?
Yeah, I think they could be close relatives.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. They've kind of got physical builds that
No.
are similar.
Last week I exterminated the Mox of Balhoun. This week, I think, to honour his passing, I am going to...
Don't. Please don't Snog or marry Orville.
I think I'm gonna snuggle.
Oh, no! This is the worst one. Alright, okay.
There's just something like that luscious red beak. And of
I
course,
don't even know if that's how you say
and
it.
of course, while he's snogging me, he can't be talking, so
Fair,
that's a plus.
Yep. Do us all a favour there.
Then I think I'm going to. This is tough, listeners. I think I'm gonna marry Charles Dickens.
Okay.
We find out at the end of this episode he's got like a year left to live and a lot of money.
Okay, yeah.
I'm playing my cards right.
Yeah, fair.
So I'm setting myself up, and that means
Very
for the first.
materialistic, aren't you, Cam?
Oh, always. I like to think of myself as pragmatic.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
practical, and that means, listeners, I'm going to kill the Doctor.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's gone. He was a bit harsh to my hubby Charlie today.
Does this mean we're going to have to skip straight to David Tennant?
Yeah. So, listeners, that's the end of Christopher Eccleston. He is now regenerating into David Tennant.
All right. Well, thanks for those answers. I'm slowly building a profile on you.
Yeah. You're getting a good idea of my perfect match.
It's not looking good. All of that snogging, marrying, and exterminating has left me thirsty for knowledge.
Thirsty for knowledge. Well,
You haven't got any trivia, have you, Cam?
good news for you, my boy. Good news for you.
Good news.
Good news, everyone. Also, exciting news. I've reworked trivia a little bit this week.
What?
Yeah, I was, frankly, I was getting bored of it.
Oh.
I thought I'd rejig it a little bit, make it a little bit more exciting.
I didn't think it could get any more.
So, just as a little appetizer to wet your whistle, we're going to start with some light some light trivia.
Yeah, that's fine.
Many people may know this episode, of course, introduces the concept of the Rift, which establishes Cardiff as a staple Doctor Who location and gets the characters coming back. Creates a whole spin-off show set in Cardiff.
Torchwood.
Bloody
Torchwood.
Torchwood. That all takes place in Cardiff. But did you know that the Rift was actually added to this story just to make the Gelf's being in the episode a bit more simple? Just to give them bit of simplicity about why they're here.
A rift opened up, they came through it.
Yeah, and that spanned so much extra media across all of the different
Definitely had a
formats
domino
of Doctor
effect,
Who.
yeah.
It's really pretty interesting. Just a little script change to make things simpler.
Just that little bloody torch.
Bloody Torchwood. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope your appetites have been piqued. Hope you're hungry, because now we've got Triv or Dare.
Triv or Dare.
Triv or Dare.
Wow.
So, in this game, I am going to tell you 2 pieces of potential trivia. And what I want from you is to tell me which one you think is the real trivia and which one is the cunning lie that I have devised to fool you.
Okay. Oh,
And should you succeed in guessing the right trivia, I will grant you the opportunity to give me a dare that throughout this next week I must complete, and I will film and we will post it on the Timey Wimey Boys Instagram and TikTok for the viewers at home to see.
Alright, okay, let's do this.
Okay, so trivia number 1. Mr. Sneed, we all love him. No, we don't.
No.
Mr. Sneed, we all hate him, was originally conceived as being a much younger man with the actor David Tennant in mind for the role.
Okay.
Or is the trivia the actor who plays Charles Dickens, Simon Callow, claims to have hated his role in this episode, not enjoying playing Charles Dickens at all.
I think the second one's true.
You think the second one is true?
No, I think the first one's true.
You think the first one is true?
Yeah, I think David Tennant was almost sneedy weedy. No, I think the guy hated playing Charles Dickens.
You think the guy hated?
Yeah, because he
playing
seems
Charles
like quite
Dickens?
a classic actor, and some classic actors kind of sometimes look down on.
They do.
I don't know. This is so
There's a
hard.
lot of pressure.
This is good.
A lot
Okay,
on the
I'm
table.
gonna say he didn't like playing Charles Dickens.
Well, Kez, I can tell you that is incorrect
Oh,
trivia.
No!
He actually loved playing Charles Dickens.
Oh,
Simon
I've got it so
Callow
wrong.
is self-proclaimed fanatic of Charles Dickens. He loves his work. He actually said he wouldn't be involved in the episode unless it was a faithful representation that he believed of what Charles Dickens was really like, and he thought that the way they portrayed his sort of loneliness and weariness towards writing and his writer's block was true to form from what he knows about Charles Dickens, and he's gone on to play Charles Dickens so much more and be involved in so much Dickens
That's
content.
so sweet.
Yeah,
That is so nice.
yeah.
So I hated this episode. So I miss out on an opportunity to give you a dare this week.
I'm afraid so. We'll have to wait till next week, audience. I won't be your dancing little monkey this time.
Well, at least that guy likes playing Charles Dickens.
Exactly. And the true bit of trivia is that, yeah, David Tennant was almost Mr. Sneed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I thought that was ridiculous.
So glad he wasn't.
Yeah, could you imagine if they'd swapped roles? Like, that guy went on to be the 10th Doctor.
Oh man, that warms my heart that he enjoyed that.
Yeah, you can imagine that when he's skipping off into the snow at the end, he's doing that. It's almost method acting at that
Yeah, he
point.
just seems so happy. Unlike me, I hated this episode.
Yeah.
I thought this episode was boring as hell.
Yeah.
Nothing really interesting happens in it. I do have to say it scared the bejesus out of me when I was a kid.
I don't think I even watched this one as a kid. I think
Oh
the
my
next time
God.
trailer scared me too much and I
don't think
didn't see it.
I didn't sleep for weeks after this episode, but watching it back now, it's a very boring one. It's definitely, if you get, I would probably skip it next time.
Yeah.
No, but I would give this episode a Tom Baker out of 10. That's a
Wow, 4 out of 10.
Out of 10. Yeah.
Fair enough. So I, to be honest, usually skip this episode when I'm doing my rewatches of Doctor Who. Usually skim right over it. However, watching through it this time, I gained a weird new appreciation for it. Usually I find it very boring. I will agree that very little happens in this episode. There's a lot of points in this episode where I'm like, don't really care what's going on. But I quite like the back and forth debate about whether or not to use human bodies as recycled corpses and stuff. I quite like how Charles Dickens kind of goes on his own Christmas Carol Scrooge journey of being tired and miserable and then finding a new lust for life after being shown ghosts and stuff. That speaks to a big part of my heart. So I think I'm actually gonna be a bit more generous than I usually am about this episode and give it a Sylvester McCoy out of 10.
A 7 out of
7 out of 10, that's right.
Well, you're absolutely wrong. But that's where we'll end it there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Timey Wimey Boys. Woo! Next week, we'll be discussing Aliens of London. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.